We are on Negaim Parak Bet Mishnah Aleph. First Mishnah in the second chapter of Masechet Negaim. Now we're going to go specifically into the Parah Adumah, Parat Chatat. So we're going to talk about more specific rules about Parat Chatat. So let's look at them. We're going to look at the Psukim a little bit, and then we're going to go into the Parashah. So the Torah tells us, and one of the things you have to know about the Parah Adumah is it's timimah, unblemished, asher in ba'mum, asher lo Allah aleha ol. There's no mum, and also there was no ol. No yoke on it. We learned also, we're gonna see from Parah Adumah, we learned another rule. We learned another rule that says that not only that can it have an O, but you can't work it. So now, in order to understand this Mishnah, we have to skip for a second to Mishnah Dalet in this parak. Says the Mishnah, and we're gonna skip the first part. We'll come back to it in tomorrow. Allah aleha zachar. Let's say your Parah Adumah is obviously a female animal, and it was mounted by a male, in order to procreate. So Allah, the Tanna Kama says, is psula. Okay? Rabbi Yehuda says, im he'elahu psula. Rabbi Yehuda says it's not Allah, it's not whether the animal was mounted by another animal, by a male, but rather, im he'elahu. If you were the person who mounted the animal in order for it to procreate, then psula, then that's a kind of work, that's a kind of usage of the animal, and therefore it's no longer usable. But if the animal did it itself, what are you going to do? Then sheira. Okay, so it has to be, and he said, we'll read it more carefully in the as we move forward. So I made a little chart. According to the Tanna Kama, no matter what, me'atzma or hello, it's still psula. Okay, it's still psula. But Rabbi Yehuda says, Allah me'atzma sheira. Now our Mishnah is going to go just in this chart, in this one section here. Why? Because it's pasul according to all three. But here, our Mishnah is going to talk about what happens if the animal got pregnant. And the only way the animal is still kosher if the animal got pregnant is if Allah me'atzma, according to Rabbi Yehuda. And so therefore, our Mishnah is literally only in this square. Says our Mishnah. Rabbi Lezer says, Parat chatat ha-me'uber. Let's say you have a pregnant parat chatat. Kshera. It's kasher. But Chachamim say pregnant, no good. Meaning, back it's only Allah's kshera, only Allah the asma is kshera. Even so the Mishnah says, what happens if it got pregnant? That's a machloket in and of itself. Rabbi Lezer says, okay. Chachamim say, no good. And Bar Yehuda says, like I said, Rabbi Lezer v'Rabbanan dehacha kaimei b'shitat Rabbi Yehuda. They're talking about Rabbi Yehuda. They're discussing only in Rabbi Yehuda's in his position, and they argue here b'me'uberet she'Allah aleh zachar mi'asma below dat ba'alim. So the animal was mounted by another animal on its own, without the ba'alim taking care of it, without the animal husbandry involved. So why are they arguing? Rabbi Lezer dim machshir. Rabbi Lezer says it's okay. Savar ubar yerech ima. There's a very, very, very huge machloket. It's well known in the idea of a fetus. Is a fetus part of the woman's body, essentially? Yerech imo, it's a limb of the mother. It's like the para's, therefore it's like her body, and therefore she's not carrying anything. V'Rabbanan de pasay, the rabbis say no good. Savi ubar lav yerech imo. They have said the opposite. They say ubar, a fetus is not a limb of the body of the mother, but something else. It's like she's carrying a foreign item. When you sell it, machma melacha. And now she's been used. There's a malacha. You're not allowed to. She's doing work. Shenoseit et ubara, carrying the ubar. Okay, so that's a machloket of pregnant Parah Adumah. Rabbi Lezer Omer, Rabbi says ein anil kachat min hanecharim v'chachamim machshirim. Rabbi Lezer says you cannot buy it from non-Jews, and chachamim say yes, you can buy it from the non-Jews. Why? It's a little bit disturbing, truth be told, because he said chashudim al ha-revi'ah. Okay, they're afraid that they used their animals for animal bestiality, and the Chachamim said no, it was okay. Why? Because when animals are used in bestiality, somehow they became akarot. They became sterile, and they didn't want to do that because why would you? Because that's money. All right, that's why Machlok Rav Lezer and the Chachamim. Velozu bilvad. Not only that, ela kol korbanot hatzibor v'hayachid. All korbanot tzibur, all public and private korbanot, ba'in meha'aretz u'michutz. They come whether it's from Eretz Yisrael or Chutz La'aretz, min ha'chadash u'min ha'yashan, and if they're grain offerings, they can be brought from chadash, new offering, new grain, and yashan. Chadash, yashan, new and old here are grain that's brought in the context of in the context, in the context of halachot of korban haomer. We're right now where I'm giving this, we're in the middle of Sfiyat haomer, and there's something called chadash. Chadash is grain that was grown that took root after the 16th day of Nisan, after the second day of Pesach. That's chadash. Yashan is all the grain that took root before Pesach. And therefore, when the korban haomer was brought, then you're allowed to eat it. Chadash is not allowed to be eaten until the next Pesach. We've learned all of this before in previous Mishnah, a long, long time ago. But korban tzibur can be brought from Eretz Yisrael and Chutz La'aretz, from chadash and from yashan. Chutz min haomer, other than the korban haomer, u'shtei alechem, and the two breads, she'einam ba'im ela min chadash, that can only be brought from chadash, min haaretz, and from Eretz Yisrael. So, but just so you know, this is a really, really actually important Mishnah, because there's a big debate, if you're watching this in Chutz La'aretz, is there such thing as chadash in Chutz La'aretz? So it's way beyond our capacity to discuss, but for many, many reasons, for many years, Ashkenazic communities treated the idea, or they felt that they couldn't keep it, and they were whatever. The poskim ruled that chadash, there was no such thing as in Chutz La'aretz, it's only d'Rabbanan. But our Mishnah seems to imply, it says mi'aretz u'michutz la'aretz, mina chadash u'mina yashan, from chadash and from yashan, implies that there is chadash even in Chutz La'aretz, which is really, it makes it very, very difficult to paskin, harder, much, much harder to paskin, that there is no chadash in Chutz La'aretz. All right, we'll stop here. Dedicate our learning to remember my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Make it a great day.